Right, Manchester City, what's going on? Like, having started this season unbeaten with 7 wins, their next 9 games was something unexpected. Like, for them to go 1 win in 9, to find themselves languishing outside of the European spots ahead of the new year is something that many unexpected. Like, we did not expect Manchester City to be struggling like this. But what's going on, and how could they arrest this downturn in form? No, they're also struggling in the Champions League, having picked up just 2 wins, and they're not yet assured of qualification, which they need to do to progress to at least the round of 16 playoffs. They are not in a good position. Their last 2 fixtures are against PSG and Club Brugge, both of which are essentially cup finals for Manchester City. Now, should Manchester City lose those fixtures, it will be the first time in ages where a former winner has failed to progress to the round of 16, because I don't think that's happened since Chelsea in 2012. So that's not a piece of history Manchester City would want to add to. But what else could be the reason for Manchester City's downturn in form? Now, at the end of last season, there was speculation surrounding whether Pep Guardiola would sign a new contract, along with players such as Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, and Bernardo Silva. There were question marks over whether they would sign new contracts, and also their keeper Edison was linked with a move to the Saudi Pro League. Like, there could be something more going on behind the scenes that we're not being told. Now, what else could be the reason? Could it be like an aging squad? Like, although I don't like to think of players in their 30s as old, but we as fans just typically do. Like, Manchester City have 6 or 7 outfield players who are in their 30s. So, would it make sense for the club to seek fresher legs, thus moving on the so-called aged players? Well, what do you think? Like, should Manchester City seek out fresher legs for players who are in their 30s, or should they still keep them on? Like, the likes of Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, they've been at the club since the mid to late 2010s, and we're in 2024 going into 2025. That is a long time. So, what are your thoughts? Should Manchester City start seeking out younger players to potentially replace the older players? What do you think? Also, I can't not mention the 130 charges hanging around Manchester City's head in relation to financial issues. Like, at some point, the players have got to be thinking, what's going on at the club? We don't know. So that could have a psychological effect on players. Like, I know they've been told that, oh, this shouldn't be an issue and they should just play, but at some point they'll be thinking, right, okay, there's an issue going on in the club, which is no doubt affecting how they play. Like, I don't like could the 100 plus charges be affecting the players psychologically? What do you think? Ever since Manchester City won the FA Cup all the way back in 2011, fans have been used to seeing Manchester City win, just as we saw in Manchester United in the 2000s up until 2013. Like, but this is a difficult period for Manchester City, which fans should really start to back the club. I know they've been used to success every year, but when the club are struggling, it is when the club needs the fans most. And when I mean the club, I mean the players. Like, this should not be a time for Manchester City fans to be like, oh, Guardiola out or whatever. Like, Guardiola is like Manchester City's best manager in like ever. So this is a really important time for the fans to stick with him through the thick and thin, because I'm going to do that again. Now, this is a period where Manchester City fans need to back the club. I mean, although they've been used to glory since they won the FA Cup back in 2011, this period is a testing time for the club. Like, we've never seen Manchester City struggle this badly ever since they won the league in 2012. Like, what we wouldn't want to see is fans being like, Guardiola out, or the players are rubbish, or whatever. I don't think I've seen some fans be Guardiola out, or maybe I have, but those are just either Liverpool or United fans moonlighting as Manchester City fans, but whatever. But Manchester City fans, I'd like to know your thoughts. How can Manchester City arrest this downturn in form? How can they improve, and where can they improve? I'd like to know your thoughts. Other fans, your suggestions are welcome as well. But that's all from me.